It's Monday, public holiday here in Australia. We go back to work tomorrow, the kids come back on Wednesday. This morning I got up to go down and I wanted to have another look at one of these cars. I pretty much thought out of the two that I saw down there, this one truck that I saw was the one I wanted to buy. It didn't have the cab because I think the cab at this point in time, I think that would annoy me. It didn't justify the difference in price between the two vehicles because they were both the exact same spec otherwise. But the one with the cab was, I think, five grand more. So I'm driving down and I gave them a call on the way down. So I wanted to try and be there soon after they opened. I gave them a call to say I was coming down. And the salesman says to me, "Oh, our head of sales drove it home last night. And he's not in today." I went, "Can you call him and see if you can get it in there? Because I want to have another look at it." And he goes, "Oh, you drove it yesterday and it looked pretty good." And I said, "Yeah, I felt comfortable with the drive. I'd like to make another drive with it. But I really do want to have a good look over it because I just had a cursory glance over it, comparing it to the other vehicle yesterday, and didn't really have a close look over it. I mean, it's a used car. It's not new, not a dealer demo. So I wanted to check it over. I got down there, they had no way of the car coming back. But the fact that it's still advertised, I didn't want somebody getting online and getting in before me because of another car I looked at that had a tow bar and a nudge bar on it. It sold on Friday. I tried to see if I could get him down on price, and I said, especially for the inconvenience you've given me today, that I haven't been able to have a look at the car again. And it's over an hour's drive from the house to the dealership. I don't think they really think of that. Got the price down, and it was a good deal down for drive away. But with my deposit, I made sure that they put a stipulation in there that here's my deposit, subject to, number one, me getting finance from the bank. But I wanted it to be clear that I'm getting my own finance. I don't want their finance, really, because they'll always offer you finance, I'm sure. Oh yeah, we'll lend you $1 million to buy a car. But I also put down, I said, can you also put the wording, also subject to me having another inspection of it and being happy with it. And so that went into the page as well. I paid a deposit. The head salesman, who's basically the boss of the place, he doesn't work he doesn't work Monday, Tuesday. So he's back on Wednesday. The place is only about half an hour from work. If he's there on Wednesday, with the car, so I can go over and have another good look over it after work. Tomorrow I'll contact the bank. So I got back to the house. I did some yard work yesterday afternoon in the front yard, and so I had a whole stack of stuff in the green bin. I'd had a whole stack of stuff, those tree stumps were resprouting, and I pulled all the stuff off that. And I've got half a trailer load, and that includes some of the bamboo that I cut out from down the back. The bamboo is shooting up like crazy. I'm finding more shoots every day. And I swear I walked across the top of the yard with the mattock and was cutting out shoots. And when I came back up to the top of the yard, I found two more. They were only about this big, but I swear they grew out while I was down the back of the yard. So I cut all that sort of stuff. I managed to get some of the bamboo roots up, the runners. Trailer load, going to the tip. This is my last day before holiday's over. I think they stopped the free green waste at the end of the month, which is Friday. I'm not going to get up there before then. So I wanted to make sure I got one last run in. Then the trailer's empty and the yard looks good. Currently 3:20. After I do this run, I'm going to take the little boys for a walk. They need it. They do not get enough walks out of me anymore. Young Sam spotted his harness on the floor near the front door this morning, or when I got back, because I did some vacuuming and the vacuum was in the way of the harness. And he saw the harness and just started sniffing at it and looking at me and sniffing at it and looking at me and dancing around the house. It's like, I better take that out. Looks like it's going to storm, but I'm going to have to take him anyway. Then I'll just do my last sort of get ready for work tomorrow. I need to double check some of the stuff on the timetable. See if I can log on to the school server. Had another teacher message me 3 days ago saying she spotted something which is it was a triple period of year 7 on one day. Can't do that out of 5. So I've got to try and move that one period. If I can, I want to do that. If I can't do that tonight, I've got to do it tomorrow morning. And I want to try and avoid that because I've got to print year 7, 11 and 12 timetables tomorrow so that they're ready for Wednesday when all the kids come back. And speaking of all kids coming back, this bloody coronavirus, the Australian authorities are not taking this seriously enough. When they started talking about the coronavirus hitting the US and China and all that sort of stuff, they decided to monitor Sydney's airport. Only Sydney. Like, that's the only airport that we have that flies in from China. Oh, we're all right. It was so stupid. What happens? We get a case of coronavirus in Melbourne. But I think there's 3 or 4 now in Australia. Now they're starting to look at the other airports, but they're still talking about, like, we've got it under control, nobody needs to worry, it's all being monitored. We're supposed to have such strong quarantine, and they're being this lackluster about it. My wife shared an article with me, and it was the health department basically suggesting that to school principals that if there's any chance of any of the students having travelled overseas, China, been in contact, like any stopovers, China, or in the airports, that's going to be the weird thing, because we do have a lot of our Islander families go back to New Zealand or the islands for the break. I don't know if that's going to be an impact, but they're suggesting that they stay away until they go to a doctor and get tested. I saw someone make a post that this is the end of the world. The end of the world is coming. Fires worldwide, especially Australia. Floods worldwide, especially Australia now. And now plague, coronavirus, going around killing people, and it's hitting people on just about every continent. Yeah, the bottom. Just about to say, being a little bit they've only got one container up there for people to pull up to offload, and down the bottom's basically like they won't send anybody down because the truck's getting loaded up. So how it's all lined up, there's only one container, one person basically offloading, and everybody doing this big snake shape around it, waiting. Ended up being 12 cars in the line, and he's running it out of space, and I was just about to start saying that, and he just sort of walked in. He goes, go down the bottom, bit more room to wait down here, but they might be able to slip us in. I doubt it, but whatever we're doing, we're waiting no matter what. They're using a giant front end loader to basically scoop it all up, and he's loading it up into this truck that's here. It's like a double bogey. It's a truck and then it's got another trailer on it behind it. It seems like he's now just pushing the whole pile back. 3:45. There's like more than a dozen cars all lined up waiting to go in here. Yeah, he's pulled out the back. It might be going in. Over that side. Here we go, we'll go offload. That was a lot easier than I was expecting. First things I'd thrown into the trailer was a stack of young saplings, and everything else was just on top of it. So when I pulled the back down, I just grabbed the ends of those. The whole thing, except for two little stumpy pieces right up the front, the whole thing just slid right out of the back. Then I just had to move forward so that I could sweep it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still 6 cars parked there, lined up with full trailers. Where I was, I didn't see how many others were in there. There's 4 or 5 other cars in there. Better not put that on. Got to give him a reweigh card today. There you go. Did start to rain a little bit. I had to move you to that side because I had you stuck to my driver's window and forgot that I had to pull the window down when I got to the tip. I started putting it down and you dropped off the window. Now you look like a GPS system. Because you used the reweigh card, no little ticket this time. It's a shame too because I was collecting them. That's just stupid. So I had 15 trips there. Not the most restful of holidays, especially not at the start. Stressful rather than restful. And then the last few days it sort of got stressful again with the flare up of those fires. And they're predicting that February is going to be hotter and drier, and I'm not going to like that because I'm not going to be at the house. I'll be at work most of the time. But at least my wife has a car this time as opposed to back in November. So if she needs to, she and the dogs can get out. Now I'm going to date this right now. These vlogs of mine started out as shop updates, and I still call them a shop update because I'm doing stuff. My channel, one of the reasons I took so long to start my channel, this current channel, was because I wanted to make it, I needed a name that didn't pigeonhole it. Of course I couldn't say Damo's Workshop. At that point I did not have one. Yes, I've got the ones at work, but they're not mine, really. I didn't want to say woodwork because I don't just do woodwork. I didn't want to say metalwork because I don't just do metalwork. I do so much different stuff. Plus DIY, and it's DIY on the house, DIY on the car. Okay, so when I started doing these vlogs, it was a year ago. So I did my first shop tour of the work shed at home. Then I started doing the shop update vlogs, home and work. And this lot during the break, I was hoping that I was going to get to do a few more things around the house, like more of the renovation and more of the maybe making a few things in my new workshop and that sort of stuff, and it just didn't happen. So these vlogs have really just become a spot for me to offload. And I find I never used to be this way, but now if I talk out loud, it makes me think a little bit more about stuff. And the reason I'm talking about this a little bit right now is a mate of mine, Andy Pugh, most of you are going to know him. It has just started a podcast of his own, and it's just him on his own. He said he might interview some people, but he really doesn't know what his channel's going to be, his podcast is going to be like. And he's done 2 episodes, rather than tales from the Tinkerage, their thoughts from the Tinkerage type stuff. And I really, when I listened to his episode 1, it kind of sounded to me like the type of stuff that I had been thinking of doing it myself. And I mentioned that to him, and he said, you should really just do it. You got a lot to share. They'd have to be a bit more structured than these, I think, though. These are just my runabout day to day, and I honestly don't think that the audio that I get with this sometimes would be good enough for a podcast. Can't subtitle a podcast. If you're interested in hearing thoughts from somebody about their making and whatnot, look up Andy Pugh's podcast. I listened to it on Anchor, but he said in the thing that he actually recorded it on YouTube, so it's on one of his channels. I think the Andy Pugh Creative one, but don't quote me on that because I haven't looked it up. But I think by the time I get this edited and out, he's probably going to have about 4 or 5 podcasts by that stage. I'm a little bit behind with my editing. Just finished walking the boys. We're getting in the car to go back to the house. But the spot I pulled over, it's like a little wide spot just on the start of this dirt road. You can see the road there, and he goes up that way. And I just looked over here, and when you first just look down here, that just looks like sticks, right? When you get down closer and pull the grass away, you realise that some ratbag has got some maybe old decking boards. There's some old, this is tape for plastering, doing your joints, and they've wrapped it in this bamboo screen and then just dumped it down here, and looks like most of this stuff looks like it's been dumped on top of it. The grass wouldn't have taken very long to grow, but I dare say it's been here a little while. But this is what happens because of how much it costs to take stuff to the tip usually. This is a very small example, because I have seen lots of construction stuff dumped down this road as well. Kind of got to wonder if there's more mounds and piles and that sort of stuff around here. Actually, there is. A little bit further into the bush. Look at that. Concrete, bricks. This has been just dumped here. This has probably been here a while because it looks like it's got a lot of soil settled in amongst it. So it looks like this is probably a fairly common dumping spot. The place I The spot I saw before was a bit further down the road before. That had a really big amount of crap dumped down there. My guess is that a lot of these mounds around here are probably building materials covered in grass. Just where I turned around to, on the first telegraph pole just past that space, there is a sign that says no illegal dumping, 24-hour surveillance. I know that there is probably surveillance further down the road because there's a lot more telegraph poles, and the property that's down the end has a long fence, and I dare say he's probably got a bit of security along his property. Kind of gets your blood level up a little bit.